don't take anything for granted. And because you hear the line, we can't die, a death by 1,000 paper cuts. $1 here, $10 here, $50 here, taking a luxury hotel stay, flying on a first class seat, and think all those things. Aspiring entrepreneur, business owner out there. If you don't have discipline in those things, your team won't either. And if your team doesn't, you're going to find out you're going to run out of money really quick.
Welcome to the CEO Bros Podcast, After Hours, with Brian Baldoff, co-founded, grew, and sold BHT Studios. Brad Baldoff, CEO and co-founder of By Your Side Autism Therapy Services. Matt Croak, the consummate entertainer, jack of all trades, and serves as our host.
So this building got torn down in our town, and it's in the newspaper, and all the comments are like, "What's going in? What's going in?" And somebody said it's going to be a car wash. Somebody else wrote, "Okay, that is the 14th car wash now in our town." And somebody else said, "No, it's the 15th because there's one being built across the street."
That's a business I would invest in, though.
The car wash?
I would invest in.
Are we talking
recurring revenue?
They're going up everywhere. By my house, they're literally across the street.
Your car, Brian, is filthy. So if they are all over the place, maybe you should get your car wash.
Car washes do you need?
Yeah, you need before you'll stop and get your car
What will it take? 20, 25?
Every car. I need it. You know what I need it? I need it at the Taco Bell drive-thru. Like if you get your car washed at the Taco Bell drive-thru.
Maybe we should, but you know what though? Maybe we should talk an episode sometime about business models that we find to be really interesting and attractive from the standpoint of, like you mentioned, a car wash. I would instantly, invest in a car wash. Yeah, and I know you said they're all over the place. You know where else I invested? Right, I invested in a mattress store.
I was just going to ask you a mattress store. That was the previous car wash. They were everywhere. I mean, they used to be. I would drive down a main road, and on a single corner there would be 4 mattress stores. Okay, like. I bought one mattress in 20 years.
Well,
How many people are buying mattresses that they need 4
A good friend of ours, we'll leave him nameless, but he owned 57 mattress stores.
What did he say?
I think he's living high life right now. I think he had 57 stores. I think he was doing fine. So if
it's just an interesting model, though. Like, how many people are buying mattresses?
So you saying that, do you think obviously you think the car washes can't sustain? Are you anticipating a crash? Like they come and go?
There's got to be. Like somebody realized, like Brad, wow, what a great business model. We're going to build one. But not realizing 20 other people had the same idea.
He just blamed you for the car washes.
And that someone has made it easier to build car washes, whether it's a new technology or something. Because they go up like this. I mean, it takes like 30 days to put a car wash in place.
But
I get it. There's low cost and
let's take that idea and put it aside as another topic as far as business models we find unique or business models we find as interesting, because that's one that I would be all in. Laundromats, I'd be all in on that. Storage facilities.
Storage is another.
Yeah. So that's
a baby boomer driven thing.
And these are all. I mean, I can name 4 or 5 off the top of my head, and you'll say, well, what's the reoccurring theme with that? And
are they sustainable?
Is it sustainable?
Like in the town we live in, I see we have a big restaurant, boom, and I just worry, like, do we have enough people to sustain that, or is that going to all of a sudden crash after a while? Right now,
as long as you get your Portillo's, Matt, I think you'll be fine. Right? If you got a Portillo's within 15 minutes of you, then you're good.
We do.
If you can't tell we're Chicago guys, that's.
Are we going to record an episode tonight?
Well, if we're talking, degradation is what we're going to talk about.
All right.
So, I mean, it's not the same as seeing something, a chain go down, but I think that's a topic we should talk today.
All right. Well, cheers.
So, wait, we didn't even say hello. What are we talking about?
That's what I was wondering. Like,
happy Friday, everyone. Yeah. We ignored you for this long. Welcome, as we just talk about interesting stores. We're all going to
give the big speech about subscribing.
Invest in, and what I want you to invest in right now is hitting that subscribe button. You could see episodes free. Episodes come right to you. It helps us know what content you want to see from us. So please hit that subscribe button.
I'd love to get into a big debate with a commenter. So why doesn't somebody throw us a comment or two?
The gauntlet
and then you want to debate.
The gauntlet has been thrown. Send a comment. Let's start the debate.
But what actually, Matt, it's funny that you kind of got us back on topic, because Brian and I were talking about 4 or 5 days ago about degradation of when you're running a company. The way I view it, if you're running a company and you're not running 100 miles an hour as the leader of the company, you're doing yourself a potential, you're handicapping yourself from the standpoint that I view it as when you move 100 miles an hour, if you have an organization that's beneath you with a lot of employees, if you get to the point where you have a lot of employees, every level that goes down in an organization, it degrades the amount of work they're doing.
It's like and half-life. It loses its power.
It doesn't mean they're not hard workers. It doesn't mean that the work ethic isn't there. It doesn't mean that you don't have smart, capable, competent people that care. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with it's whatever pace you set. I believe that the rest of the organization will set that. And so that's what we were talking about. We were talking about the degradation of if you like say I'm operating all the time at say 70%. I firmly believe that the team beneath you will operate at 50% and the team beneath them will operate at 30% and so forth and so on. And so if you really expect your message to get out there in the sense of urgency you want out there, you have to be running another speed, a speed that you are maybe typically not used to running if you want to be an effective and successful business.
And this is one of those topics that's great because, for aspiring, entrepreneurs and CEOs, you may not even realize this could be a pitfall, but either people are paying attention or subconsciously they're paying attention. And this is a pitfall.
Right. Because it's one of those things that happens over time. It's got that insidious creep into the business. And I always view it, I know what Brad's talking about. I view it from a different perspective. I mentioned like ripples in a pond, a rock hits in the middle, the ripples are strongest there. And as they go out, they weaken. And I always had that with brand. Like you're the owner of the business. You're the most passionate about the brand. So you're going to be the one that's always, on top of it. And for me, it was like the words that we use. I was very specific about this is how we describe our products. So then my leadership team would hear me and they would maybe pick up 90% of that. But some things they didn't remember or didn't hear. And then when they would talk to their managers in their departments, maybe they pick up 75% of it. Mm-hmm. Then by the time it gets to the people who are in front of the customers, they're using about 50% of the language that I'm using. And so it's having a diminished impact on if I had talked to a client versus somebody on the sales team, it's a much different impact because it's lost some of its, it's like the old game of telephone.
Yeah.
I tell you,
that's a great example.
By the end, it loses something. And it's very hard to maintain that force all the way out as the company gets bigger and there's more layers and more levels and more dispersion geographically. I don't necessarily have a solution for it, but you need to be aware.
You kind of do. If you're using that ripple in the pond, you're saying, if I may, don't be a pebble because a pebble will just have small ripples and then it'll be gone. Be a brick.
That's kind of what Brad said.
Yeah,
throw it as hard as you can, as big as you can.
Yeah. All right, 100%.
I feel I do that intentionally. So people say like you are literally full throttle all the time, and that's by design. Mm-hmm. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't necessarily want to be like that, but I feel like you let off the throttle. To Brian's point, I mean that's a great kind of visual. It's like that's 90% of that's captured, 85% down to 70, down to 50, and you're like, that's not even the message or the narrative we wanted out there with our customers or anybody that might be buying or utilizing our service or product. So it does apply with everything. Like Brian, you talked early on, I think it was like the first 3 or 4 episodes, you talk about culture. Now, if you were laissez-faire with the culture, right? Or let's talk dress code, right? Let's say the dress code doesn't matter. I mean, let's say the dress code does matter to you, but you don't communicate it in a way to show the sense of importance. That will just water down to a point where you're like, that's not how I want my team dressing, or that's not how I want my team representing us or making a first impression. It's because you didn't set the expectation. Your floor, long and short of this, your floor has to be so high at the lowest mark. Your floor has to be at such a high mark that people, that even if they degrade down, if there's degradation down, it's still at a level that you're proud of as being the impression of your company. And
so we talked about it. You and the leadership team really set the tone for a lot of things: culture, brand. We talked about it in our budgeting episode. How you spend money influences people down the line. If money's no object, everybody's going to think that way. Well, I'm going to always park in valet parking. I'm going to always, take.
If you fly first class, if you stay in a luxury hotel, people are going to see that and they potentially think they could do it. It literally is applicable to every single thing you do. I mean, from your sense of urgency to your how you spend money on product, to even the line that you guys hear me say all the time, inspect what you expect.
Mhm.
If I'm going to be looking at even the most finest of details, everybody will then think differently, the way they go about their business. And I think the reason why this topic is so important is if you're starting a business off, man, you can't take any of that for granted. All that is critically important to the success, because I recall when I've started businesses in the beginning, and if you didn't set that tone right off the get-go, it just the ripple effect goes really quiet really quickly, and there's nobody that's running with the same sense of urgency and the same sense of purpose. So absolutely critical.
Well, and accountability, like if the top guy doesn't take the blame when things go wrong or shirks responsibility, then that's acceptable, and I'm going to do the same. And then nobody owns anything in the company. Whereas if something goes wrong and you take the blame for it, like I think I told this story when I used to work at a video rental store, which half our audience won't even know what the hell that is. I used to sweep outside with the broom. And one day I had one of the employees come up and say, "You shouldn't be doing that. You're the boss. Like, let me do that." And I'm like, "Wow, that's great. I'm glad you kind of picked up on that." I said, "But I actually enjoy doing it. So, when I'm not here, you do the sweeping, and I'll, appreciate that."
But it's setting the right tone, setting the right impression. I mentioned in the mentors episode that when I mentioned this gentleman that just was phenomenal with running a P&L. I mean, to the umpteenth, where every penny was going. That's how he had us. Our mindset was like, you're gonna wire. Brian, you actually made we were talking about that one big deal that I did where it was a sales episode we were talking about, where I said he was complaining that I was spending money on $50 binders in the presentation, even though the deal was a $150 million deal.
Yeah.
Why did you spend $50 on binders? And Brian said, "Oh my God, that would just drive me nuts. Like, I can't believe, doesn't it make you sick?" And I said, "Yeah, it does. But at the same time, it's like, it's par for the course for him. Nothing is taken for granted. If you let anything go," and it wasn't, I'd say to his face, he's a tightwad, but he actually taught me though, a lot of don't take anything for granted. And because you hear the line, we can't die, a death by 1,000 paper cuts. $1 here, $10 here, $50 here, taking a luxury hotel stay, flying on a first class seat, and think all those things, aspiring entrepreneur, business owner out there, if you don't have discipline in those things, your team won't either. And if your team doesn't, you're going to find out you're going to run out of money really quick. So
that's why I said it's an insidious thing. It just kind of creeps in. It's not like a black and white. It's just here, there. 1,000 paper cuts is exactly it.
Well, you may not even be aware of it. If you're a CEO and you're running a business, your head may legitimately be in 1,000 different things. And in your head, you got a lot of things going on. But to everyone else, you're distant. You're not really involved. You're not paying attention. And that's where
decision making, we talked about like impulsive decision making versus intuitive. I always teach my team, it's like, if I see them too intuitive, too over analytical, it's like you have to demonstrate like it's okay to make a decision more, on your gut. We can actually make this move, and it's okay because you're setting the tone. Vice versa, if someone's making a decision too impulsively, hey, I want you to step back. I want you to be more analytical. I want you to be more thoughtful. So, it's almost like you serve as the mirror for the rest of the company to see, and what you do and what you demonstrate in spending, in your sense of urgency, your sense of purpose, decision making. I mean, the list goes on.
Was the attitude. Are you upbeat? Are you enthusiastic? Or are you crabby, depressed, nervous, that resonates like immediately. Those are very quick ripples that go out.
And you can't take that for granted because, if you don't, I never take myself seriously. I've always been like, well, I'm one of the guys, I'll be out with employees. It'll be 200-300 employees. And I'm like, I'm just one of the guys hanging out. It's like, but they're looking what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking how you're holding yourself. And if your behavior, if your demeanor, to Brian's point, if you're highly volatile, you're emotional, I mean, everything is could resonate. And so you have to take that seriously. I take it seriously.
Yeah. And it's not a compliment, but I've seen them in that setting, and you're right. So you're there showing I'm supporting, but you're also I've seen that go too crazy. Like, you're very grounded in that, environment.
Well, I love to laugh.
Right.
I love to have a blast. There's things that I say, I'm sure at times, that are taboo because I think certain jokes, certain comedians are absolutely hysterical, and there's things that are funny, but I also realize, like, okay, there's a place and time for everything. And you have a certain responsibility as the leader of the company to say, you are setting the tone. And there's one company that always comes to mind for me. I sit on the board at Kalahari, the Kalahari water parks up in Wisconsin, in Lake Delton. And the CEO of Kalahari, which I got to get him on our show here, Todd Nelson. So he owns multiple water parks throughout the country. And everybody comments about just how if he sees even a little scrap of paper on the ground, it's like he picks up. Then everybody's got that mindset. Like, if you're an employee, Walt Disney, you pick everything up. There's not a scrap of garbage on the ground. And if it's not beneath him to do that, then if I'm an employee in the ops staff, if I'm an accountant, if I'm a sales clerk, I'm picking up stuff too. So everybody's got that mindset, which I think is really important when you're trying to get something off the ground.
Well, yeah, you touched on it. You just brought it up again. I guess they said, I don't know how to solve the problem, but how to prevent it from being a problem is you have to be visible. If you fade out of the picture because you're busy with other things, like this happens if you're going through acquisitions or you're going through financing, you tend to get dragged away from the day-to-day business. That's when things start to drift because people aren't reminded on a daily basis that, we have a dress code, we have a culture, we have a way of doing things. It just slips.
So let me debate you a little bit on that, Brian, because I know for the longest time I said you have to be in the office, and I went into the office. I still go in the office every day, and you were adamant about, no, I'm not going to be in the office. I'm going to be remote, working remote. How do you demonstrate that when you're basically not there, setting the example, showing like I'm going to be there too. I'm going to weather the storm and be there in the rain with you guys. How do you do that?
It's very difficult.
Join us next week when it just goes to a straight, this high pitched noise. All of a sudden the lights go off. It's like,
I guess it's not a debate.
Remember, we always would talk about that.
That's why I retired.
I would challenge Brian on that all the time. I'd say, "How are you not in the office?" And he's like, "Well," and now to Brian's point or Brian's credit, a lot of his employees are all over the country, scattered. He's got independent contractors working for him. He's got this. Photographers, videographers, they're spread out all over the country. So that is a lot different than being concentrated in a few offices.
But I do have an answer. So there's other ways to convey things like that. Do you write personal notes to the team? Like, every Friday, hey, from Brian, here's some things. Because you can convey it in your words, culture and attention to detail and passion and all that.
We do these. Do you think it not hurt you looking back? Do you think if you had to do it all over again, would you go, no, I do it the same way? Or do you go, I'd get some more benefit from doing that if I was in the office working side by side with them? Because I know that's not your personality.
That's the easiest way to make sure people are seeing you is you're in the office. Because when we were in the office, I would go and sit in the different departments with different people. I was always out because there's being in the office, and then there's the guy who's in his office and never actually comes out. Doors closed.
Right.
I used to hang out in the kitchen.
Right, you're the guy from. I always use the thing from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Looking at we brought that one up a couple times. No.
It's like
I hung out in the kitchen a lot.
Well, of course,
I know it sounds like a slacker, but that's where you meet employees and you get to talk to people in a casual setting.
Yeah.
And people let their guard down and tell you things that they wouldn't tell you in a formal meeting. Like,
fire Bob. He just told me that.
put the front door on backwards.
He said Fridays, you write a personal note. We do these every Friday. Have you ever gotten a personal note from Brian? I have not.
I have not received a note. No, yeah.
Every
But I'm
Friday.
here in person, so you guys don't need a note. From me. That's the
We're
difference.
blessed by his presence.
I send you guys emails. You don't read them.
You know what the funny thing though is, Matt, I mean, without creating an unnecessary spat between the brothers. I mean, I would challenge him all
we
the time.
have
like,
enough necessary spats.
Exactly. He knocked me out of fantasy football. That's enough. No, just the fact that we would debate all the time. Like, how are you not in the office? Like, I cannot see myself not being there with my employees. Different environment though. I have all my employees in offices. You're scattered
your
all over the
customers
country.
You're doing
Yeah.
therapy. But doesn't that go back to a conversation we had a while ago? Teams or Zoom, on camera, off camera? I mean, right?
Oh yeah. I was never off camera for one thing, and if you are leading a meeting, you have to put some extra oomph in it when you're on Zoom. Like in person, it's easier to convey things. When you're on Zoom, you would know this from being an actor and being a comedian. You got to exaggerate. You've got to, use your voice and your body to convey things. You can't just sit there and, read this quarter's results. That's not going to get anybody motivated. They're going to be like, he's checked out. So it's harder. It's much harder, but it's still possible.
Yeah, because even storytelling, you talk about story, it's not just words. You can tell stories with your hands. Like if you're live or on Zoom, this is open, this is closed. Yeah, so it's important.
Well, and I think too, you want to. I know this is going to sound like leadership development, but don't get it confused.
Can't wait to hear this.
You foster ambassadors within the company who are visible and who are seen. Like make sure the people that are most visible in the company are reflecting your values and your thought processes, decision making, because they're being seen. Your head of marketing is always being seen. Are we aligned? Are we both dressing professionally, saying the same things? Our head of sales is in front of the sales team, all the time, and is in front of customers all the time. Other people you worry about a little bit less because they're individual contributors. They're not being seen by a lot of people or talking to a lot of people.
So sticking with your analogy, you're the rock in the middle, and then you try to pay attention to your first couple outside ripples, and hopefully those are strong enough where your ripples go longer.
Yeah. Where there's,
because it's a mathematical equation, it will go down. You're not going to.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how you say that, where Brian will put the focus on the ring around to force a strong enough ripple out. Where I feel that I have to pound the brick into the water deep, to send because I know it's going to. To your point, the math is the math, right? The degradation is going to occur. So you basically are like, I have to send a message strong enough that we run at this throttle, and if it degrades, we're still running above 100. And it's by the time it gets down to where we should be running at, the tire meets the road, at the lowest level within the company, they're still running at 80% because they know that that's the expectation. And you could burn people out. I get it. But if everybody's running hard, the takeaway for me that I would share with people is that the sense of purpose, a sense of urgency, the how you behave, your decision making, there's a whole host of things that you are basically you're setting the whole mark, and you don't even realize it. Or if you don't realize it, you better realize it, because people are watching you whether you like it or not. They're following your lead, whether you like it or not. And I always took that. I always knew I was cognizant of that as things were going. And I continue to do that because I know that people are looking for that direction. And sometimes it's just by example. So,
well, the three of us have led an example. All three of us have hit the subscribe button to our own channel. So now we need you to be our ripple. We need you to.
So why do we only have two people?
So, Brian.
So we lost one.
Right.
Who have you disconnected? Wait a minute.
Who disconnected?
Wait, and you blocked me from my text. Why have you blocked me? Yeah, that's right.
Why did you block me?
By the way, your book title, I think I said it before, it's going to be The Reluctant Mentor. That's going to be your book title.
There we go.
So
I don't think he likes that.
And by the way, you're all all welcome that we put in your head that everywhere you drive, you're going to see a car wash or you're going to see a mattress store. You're welcome for that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's good to let's maybe on one of the next topics. Let's talk about business models that are exciting and or
interesting
unique or
business models. Yeah.
Well, don't you guys ever like drive down a street and just look and go, how does this place make money?
Yes,
How are they still
a
here?
candy store. How does a candy store do it? Because how many people are running into the candy store?
All right, this is going to be a
Candies other
full
than, like,
episode.
Christmas?
So
And, they
hit the
also
subscribe
got a
button.
bag and they put the bag
Find
on the
stores near
counter.
you that you don't
And
know
it's
how they
like
make money. Send us the
$4 in
comments,
sales.
and we are going to talk about it for a
Something's
full episode.
We'll figure it out.
I look at strip malls and wonder, like, what is the secret? Like, how does some stores help other stores?
Oh,
like,
that
some
was a
are
big
so.
When I was in the video rental business, we always went next door to a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven or a White Hen. That was part of the business model. Or we would follow drugstores, things that had a lot of traffic. That's
And
the
you
big
mentioned
one.
Portillo's, the Portillo's Bar House, right across from Lutheran General Hospital. Oh my gosh,
It's beautiful.
Built
Makes a
in
lot of
audience.
sense. Well, hey, good one.
I'm gonna
No,
have to think
we're
about that
done. We're done
correlation.
listening to you
No,
on
I'll
this
think
topic.
about it this weekend.
Cheers. Good to see you. See you guys. Thanks.